to go ahead and just jump in and get started just because we have a limited amount of time. We got 30 minutes. So I am going to share my screen here and let's get to it. So we're talking about buyers today. This happens to be one of my most favorite topics because this is how I literally built my repeat referral business. Because as you all know, I moved markets after I'd been a real estate agent for 5 years. And when I moved markets, I literally took nothing with me. I had zero business, started from scratch. So I really had to figure out a way to be a listing agent and also to learn the buy side because I now took on a different role as buyer agent. So real quickly, hey, Nicole, since you're on, would you drop in the chat, make sure that you can hear me okay, just so I know that we're getting our feed out okay, before I move past this any further. Can you hear me okay? Hopefully, yes. Yes, perfect. Okay, good. Let's get at it then. All right, so here we go. So first off is the 3 must-dos with buyers in this market. It's really important for us to understand that since the market has shifted, we may or may not be on the same page as our buyers and sellers. So this is what we're going to be covering today. Before I get started, for those of you who are new into the group and that are just watching this video for the first time, I'll be real brief here. My name's Nicole Briggs. I'm the creator of this Facebook group. I also am a real estate agent of 16 years. I still am in production. I've been a top producer and a 6-figure income earner for the last 10 years at least. So for me, every year just doing more and more and doing better and better is success to me. I've been a team lead for realtors for the last at least 8 years, maybe 9 years. I'm losing count, but I do have a team of agents that work for me for their license, one that's getting their license, and then we're expanding our team every single week. It seems like we are just growing, which is really fantastic. I'm also a mentor and coach, and I started that about 3 years ago. I built this group, actually it started in July of 2 years ago. So in 2 years, we have built this group to over 40,000 women and 100 people coming in every single day, which I'm super grateful for. And all of you guys are amazing. So thanks for allowing me 30 minutes of your time on Friday, because I know your time is precious, as is mine. I'm a mom of 4 kids, which is why I created the group as well, is because I get you. Like, I get what it's like to try to manage work life, mom life. And the balance, like forget balance, that kind of goes out the window. I vote for centered. If I'm centered, then everything else seems to go better. So, and I've also been married almost 28 years. My anniversary is in next week, I guess, next week. So I've been married a long time and I feel like I've kind of been through it. So there's 3 main reasons why I do what I do. I have a passion for helping others, which I think most real estate agents do. That's why we get into the business. I'm highly determined to achieve like at any level and at anything. I'm a very much a doer. And also I have a strong desire to make a difference. So I really hope that you find lots of value in this group with your relationships with other women in the group, and also in the trainings, and also in some of the opportunities that I bring into the group for you all to learn from. I hope that this makes a huge difference in your careers moving forward. So real quickly, I just have a couple people on, but I also on the lives, I'm so grateful that you're here. I actually am in St. George, Utah. Nicole and Lilia, typically we have over 100 people who jump on, and the reason we don't is because I switched the time. So I apologize, but I would love to know where you guys are from. Nicole, I know I follow you. Drop in the chat if you wouldn't mind where you're from, where you're practicing real estate right quick, just so that I get a good pulse for where people are at. When I'm in the group, it's always nice when we do the thread for people to actually like let us know where they're doing real estate. But it's also super important for us to understand that things are changing across the country. It may not be moving at the same pace, but it is in fact moving. Okay, so in January and June of 2022, we were in bidding wars and we had multiple offers, right? Like that is the real estate industry. If you are new in the business, let's just say since 2000, really like 17, 18, you haven't seen a change in a market. Not only that, since COVID, things were actually even more different. So if you are actually newer than 2010 even, you've been in an inclining market since then. So we really need to get really good at having conversations about the changing market. Here's our current market now. The buyers actually have an opportunity to say this house or that house. Like there's never been a more shift that's happened where all of a sudden it was almost like the faucet went off, right? I know the lenders are feeling it. They're saying they're at a 20-year low for new contracts coming in for loans that are being initiated. So I know that they're feeling it. However, what we're seeing still in our marketplace is sales are still happening. It's just prices are starting to come down a little bit. Sellers are having to get more realistic and inventory is actually starting to build. If you aren't seeing that yet, you will be. It's coming. But this is definitely how it is for us. So here's how we break it down. So in the buyer's market, there's a surplus of inventory. There's the features and benefits of homes have like literally, they actually have weight. You know, you actually will look at the house and go, oh, this has, 3-car garage, this has 2-car garage, or this one has, granite, this one has laminate countertops. All of a sudden, those features and benefits, they actually do matter. Closing costs are negotiated now on offers. Also, we're seeing contingencies that are coming back into the marketplace where you can actually make an offer contingent on your home selling, and the sellers are actually looking at your offers now. And then also the list to offer price isn't 100%, or even worse in some markets, 110 to 120% over list price. In a seller's market, what happens, which is what we saw, shortage of inventory, more compromise on wants versus needs. All of a sudden, it's like a new house came on the market. It's in the area that I want. Bam, write an offer. Don't care. Don't need to see it. And by the way, offer 50,000 over list and remove my contingencies. It was nuts. But closing costs, they're not an issue in a seller's market. The list to offer price is over asked, like I said, and then some. Multiple offer scenarios are happening, and contingencies are like there are none. That's why I put question mark, like nobody would take a contingency. And the other is I saw way crazy things, and I'm sure you guys did too. I hope that it was just a spoof or like a meme, but people were like offering a year's worth of cookies or a year's worth of pizza. And that's what was ending up on our contracts. So we're in this transitional market. Most are calling this a shifting market, right? But it really is a transition. And this is where we have the sellers who think that they can still get bidding wars, and the buyers who think that they can still get, max amount for their property. So we're seeing that the two aren't being 100% realistic. And if we are doing our job right, then we're being able to explain that in a way that gets us to come to terms to where we can actually close and bring the buyer and seller together. But they're not on the same page until they are, right? And I feel like it's up to us. It's up to us to deliver the information. And this is the state that we're currently in. So let's get to the 3 problems that I discussed in the email that I sent out. So the first problem is that we don't know how to explain the current market. The second problem is we don't know how to lead the client. That is a big one. In any market, it's a big one. And the third problem is we don't know how to close for a signature. I don't know how many times in this group alone, we see people all the time saying, I worked with this person for 5 months and then they never even bought with me. Or I called, I gave them all the information. I went to go meet them out on the property. Come to find out they wrote an offer with someone else. It's because we don't set up the buyer consultation, the buyer presentation the way that we need to. And I know that that's not super fun to hear, and time doesn't always allow us to do that in certain instances, but in the market that we're moving forward in, it 100% will matter. So problem number 1, we don't know how to explain the current market. So the answer to number 1 is motivation. It always goes back to motivation. So what is the client's motivation to move? If they're making a purchase, if they're a buyer, why are you making a purchase in this market? Tell me, I'm curious. And then do they have a home to sell? Yes or no, right? That's a very easy one. And then lastly, when does this need to be accomplished by? Like, when do we actually need to have this home closed? Okay. Those are the 3 main things that you'll want to ask the buyers. So a motivated buyer, here's how they would answer those 3 questions. First, they're taking a job out of state, motivated. Second is they have a home to sell, motivated. Third is their job begins in 60 days. That's a time frame. So we have a time crunch. Okay, this is a very highly motivated buyer. This is one that I would give 100% of my attention to because 100% they're qualified. An unmotivated buyer is they're thinking about getting a smaller home. We have a home to sell, but we're not in a rush. We don't want to just give it away. My favorite line. We don't want to give it away. Yeah, nobody does. Okay. The third one is whenever the house sells is fine. Whenever it sells for the time frame, whenever is whenever. The challenge is that we take this unmotivated buyer and we think, and somehow we're gonna actually motivate them. We're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show them that yeah, now's the time to buy, and I can show them their best house. But listen, they've got 3 things that you have got to overcome, which isn't bad. It can happen, but it's going to take time and it's going to take some understanding of what's going on in the market. So pre-qualifying your client is the single most effective way to find motivation and to share the current market status. When you're pre-qualifying, you can let them know, I'm sure you already know that our market is changing. I'm sure you already know that people were getting top dollar. I'm sure you already know you've been shopping in the market. There's, a plethora of homes that have come on the market. If they say they've been looking for a while, great. When you were looking, how many homes were there available in the area you were wanting? Well, there was about 10 or 12. Great. What do they look like today? Well, there's about 49. Okay, good. So we just tripled the inventory. So what does that mean? That means that we've got to change in our market. Wouldn't you agree? Your job is to get those clients to see the bigger picture here and to see that the market is actually in a shift. So why are all of our buyers so reluctant? Why do people think that this is such a difficult market for buyers? So first off is they just saw an unprecedented market, which has been in an upward state since 2010. So if the recession started in 2006, I know where I live, it was going down, 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 down. We had a ton of houses on the market, and it wasn't until about 2010 to 2012 where we actually started to see a slight upside in the market. If an investor came into my market, I could show them 5 houses that were a 7% cap return, and I could sell one just like that. Investors were my favorite during this particular period. Second is they just saw that their home appreciated 100 to 200% in 2.5 years. Okay, they just appreciated in such an astronomical number that they're reluctant to do anything. Okay, and the third is interest rates are no longer at a historical low. Never have we seen 2% interest rate, 3% interest rate. And fourth, they feel and hear that the market is going to crash. If you were not in the business in 2006 to 2008, get with a top producer or get with an agent or get with your broker if they were, and ask them what it was like in 2006. I think that every brokerage on the planet should be having a conversation about what the market looked like during the recession in 2006. Because guess what? The majority of our industry has not been in the business long enough to remember this. So we need to educate our agents to understand what happened during the recession and what it looked like climbing out of it. So why should they move or buy now is a good question, right? So I know this is kind of a big one here and there's lots of words on there, but I'm going to go through them. Why they should move or buy now. One is the exact same reasons I just told you that were the negative reasons why. They just saw an unprecedented market and it's gone upward since 2010. Their home is worth more now than it ever has been, and it's starting to go down, which is good for a buyer because now there is what? An increase in inventory, right? And prices are coming down. They also just saw that their home appreciated 100 to 200%. Even though the market is sliding backwards a tiny bit, they're not realizing a loss because they never had it yet. You don't ever realize that until you actually sell. You never realize that appreciation until you actually sell. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. But even as much as it slides backwards, they just made 100 to 200% appreciation in 2.5 years, which is absolutely not normal. It is absolutely not normal. So they're still in a good way. Even if the market slides back 10% or 20%, they're still way ahead versus waiting for a flat typical market where we're just basing pricing on inflation. Okay. Next is interest rates. They're no longer at a historical low. They're now back at 5-6%, 6 3/4. I saw up to 6 3/4 in some areas. or on some days. You know what? Back in 2006 and 2002, 2003, we were excited for a 6% commission. For those of you that are young and we're in that market or in the real estate industry, and during that time, we were happy with the 6% interest rate, and our seconds, if we didn't have down payment, we're at 8.75. So to see interest rates stay so low at 3-4%, sustainability long term, it just isn't there. However, there's amazing things coming into the market as far as products are concerned that lenders can let you know about that will help ease this while we're still trying to figure out market uncertainty. The next is they feel in here that the market is going to crash. This is also something that we can show them by way of just explaining what's going on in the market. That I don't know about you, but ask yourself in your marketplace, how many of your buyers came with cash? Last time I checked, we cannot foreclose on cash. A large percentage of the people who purchased in my area came with cash. So there's only a small percentage that actually were loans. This doesn't mean that we're not going to see some short sales and some foreclosures. Okay, great. That just gives us a few little things here in the marketplace to draw in more buyers. No big deal. Okay, buyers are still going to have to sell. They're still, buyers are still going to have to, sell their home in order to purchase the new ones. So we're still going to see inventory coming back on. Next is more inventory. I already mentioned this. So this is a great reason to actually sell right now and to purchase, because they're still realizing a huge gain on their sale, a huge gain. And now, as prices have started to come down, now they can actually capitalize on some of the sellers who actually have to sell, who are motivated to move in this market for like a job transfer or, some type of event that's happened in their life and they have to sell. Okay. If they are motivated to buy, now's a great time to capitalize on those who must move and are panicking. Okay, like for sure, like job transfers, divorces, death in the family. Unfortunately, they have to sell. They have to sell. So, if you're in the market right now, and you're listing it right now, you have to sell, or you have a strong desire to sell because you're going to capitalize on the lower pricing as a purchase. You can't have it both ways. You can't sell high and buy low. We all know this. So we have to get very good at explaining it. The next thing is that you can always refinance. And there are some great programs for buy downs right now, which I'm moving one of my clients into like literally today, that put you at a 3 to 4% interest rate for a couple of years, for 2 years. This particular program is for my clients. Check with your lender. They can let you know what is available for any buy down programs for your area and for your for what your client needs. But what it does is it makes it so that they can ride out this market for a couple of years, and they can actually capitalize on that lower payment so that they can get the home that they want at a better price. They were looking during the frenzy and they got priced out. Now they're back into the market, which is so awesome. And then next is waiting to purchase means that you ride out any uncertainty, which I mentioned. And then number 8 is waiting to purchase means that you're either renting or you're watching your home go down in value. So if you thought that you were losing, that your house was sliding backwards right now, just wait until you sit a little bit longer in the market, right? It's going to continually, as more inventory comes on, it naturally will push pricing down just based on supply and demand. So there's so many reasons why they should still buy, but if you don't know their motivation, if you don't do the very first, number one, the first issue is pre-qualifying. If you don't qualify them, then you don't know if now is the right time for them to purchase. Okay. So if a buyer does not have motivation to make a move, or you don't know it, you cannot help them. Remember, you cannot motivate unmotivated people. Promise is a fact. You can try as much as you want. You will be spinning in your wheels. They will be writing offers and then canceling. There's a reason why, like when I send an offer, my clients are solid because I've gone through every single pre-qual question that I could, and I've set the tone for how this is going to go to make sure they're 100% confident this is the right move for them. Okay, next up is problem number 2. I'm going to get to questions at the very end, so if anyone has questions, you can drop them in the chat. But problem number 2 is that we don't know how to lead the client. Oh my goodness. This is probably like my most favorite part, is leading the client, because there's a certain way that I move clients through a process. And that's what I'm going to share here, is that The buyer appointment or the consultation is a big deal. Someone dropped in the chat the other day in the group saying, I always tell the clients, if come on in for a buyer consultation, and then they're spooked and then they don't show up. Okay, that's in the delivery. That happens to be the way that you're either presenting it, how you're explaining it to them. So here's how I move through this process. So first off, this happens in the office unless there's a circumstance. I will never do a buyer appointment unless they have a listing to sell. I will never do it at their home unless it's always got to be in my office. 1, professionalism. 2, I can control the environment. And 3, it sets the tone for how this is going to go. This is my turf. I'm going to set the tone for how this transaction is going to go. Third is go over the wants versus needs list. First of all, is go over the pre-qualification questions. Again, I know you already asked them before. That's how they ended up in the office. But now we go back through, and this is how I do that. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, thanks so much for meeting me here at the office. I'm excited to go take a look at the houses today. I've set up a couple for us to review. There were some things I wanted to go over with you on the computer before we begin. So a couple things, I just want to go through my notes to make sure I got everything right. You said you needed to sell because of this. You needed to move because of then. You don't have a house to sell. You've already been pre-qualified. And did you bring your pre-qualification letter with you today? Okay, this is so easy. And it's always like, yes, that's it. So tell me a little bit more about this. So if, when you make your purchase, tell me what it is that you like about, that you're wanting to move into. Tell me about the home that is your, that you're wanting to move into. What is the needs and the wants? What are the must-haves? What are the deal breakers? Deal breakers in my market are a baby grand piano and a RV or a boat. So if I always ask at the very end, I know this seems like a weird question, but do you have a piano you're moving, or a boat or an RV? Now, why would I ask this? Because if I don't ask beforehand, I'm going to get into the house and they're going to go, oh, this house doesn't have a place for the baby grand. Okay, I can go through that before I even set up the appointments for the houses. Okay, this is wasting time if I don't ask some of the deal breakers. So think about what some of the deal breakers would be in your market. Also, let's see, after you do the wants versus needs list, you go over the current market conditions. So I'm so excited. This looks great. You sent me the 5 houses that you love. Let's just talk a little bit about the market. Can you see that there's a few more homes on the market for you to look at? Yes, every day there's going to be a few more coming on. I'm going to take a look at that for you. All I'm doing is letting them know more value, what I'm going to do for you. Like, this is what I do. My job is to watch the market for you and make sure that you don't miss a thing, and we're going to go take a look at the one that's the most best fit for what it is that you're looking for. And then go over their availability to see homes. My gosh, for all you moms out there that are trying to control your time, this question should be the most important question. So tell me, when we are going to go take a look at homes, what is your availability like during the week? When do you work? Well, I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Bing, bing. Guess what? Me too. I work those hours too. Okay, great. So let me just ask you this, because Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like that, the newest listings come on first thing in the market or first thing in the day, and I don't want you to miss out on those. So if there is a home that comes on the market that actually fits your criteria, is there a possibility that you have a lunch break? Oh yeah, I have an hour lunch break. Is it pretty flexible? Yeah, it's pretty flexible. Or no, it's not flexible. I can only go from 12 to 1. Guess what? We're going to go look at houses between 12 and 1, unless I can absolutely, unless I can absolutely get around it, right? Because that's my time. That's my time. For all you moms, at 5 o'clock, your kids are wanting dinner, and they're wanting to do bedtime stories and homework, and we're busy. So this is me setting the tone for how the transaction is going to go, and to let them know again that I'm pouring into them. I'm giving them more value. Like, I'm available to you. I'm going to be watching the market for you. I'm going to call you when something is available. Okay. And then the next thing is, before we head out, if we were planning to go see a couple homes that day, typically if they say, I've got a few that I want to look at, okay, great, send those over to me so I can set some appointments. And then we're going to meet actually at my office. That's how I set up the appointment. That easy. I don't talk about, you need to come in, I got a buyer broker for you to sign. No. Good. Oh, great. We're going to actually start at my office. So, here's my address, and then we're going to meet at whatever time, and then I'll plan to see you there, and I'll have those set up for you. So here's what I say in the appointment is, here is, before we head out, I just have a couple other things. The first off is I've got an agency disclosure form that I'll need you to approve. This just allows me to represent you when you find a home that we want to purchase. It also lets me open the doors for you. It allows me to, represent you in finding your next home. So all I need is a signature here. And then we've got our appointments here in the next, 30 to 30 minutes. So we'll have plenty of time to get there. It's no big deal. And I'll go through that document. So just take a second. Now we're going to go through the document. And then I always say to them, are there any questions before we head out? I've got copies of the homes that we're going to see today right here. And then I will just meet you downstairs. I mean, like literally, this is how I set up the buyer appointment. And I do it every single time, the exact same way, every single time. Okay. And it works. Like I do a ton of buy sides, and guess what? Buyers turn into sellers. And not only that, you're their warm market and you're their agent of choice because you sold the home to them. Okay. So we must lead the client, or the client will lead you. I see this all the time. And I hear it all the time. And if we can take better control in the very beginning and set the tone, things go so much better. So the market is over for let's meet at the property and show one home, or not, because it would have already been gone, and we'll just go ahead and write an offer. That market is gone. Okay. Which is so great, actually. I love the fact that it is in this state that it's in now. I mean, I still survived and I thrived in that market too, but guess what? This one is fantastic. Like embrace this market, that this market is where it has never been easier to explain what your worth is. You know what your worth is that there's several homes that are coming on the market, and I'm going to help you determine which ones are going to be best for you. And I'm actually going to hold you to it. Like when you give me your wants and needs list and you start looking at price points over like $50,000 and you say, hey, Nicole, I saw this one. What do you think of this one? Guess what my response is? I think that's a great house. However, it's $50,000 over your budget. So I just was wondering, are we going to up your amount, or what was the plan here? Because right now, if I showed you that home and you fell in love with it, we don't have a pre-qual that says that you can afford it. Like you can't buy it, right? Like be honest with people. And when they say, you know what, we actually could go up a little bit. We were discussing it last night. We think we want you to open up our criteria up to a little bit higher, about $50,000 higher. Okay, great. Now I know. Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll go back through that $50,000 difference and see if there's anything else that we're missing, because I want to make sure that you're getting exactly what it is that you're searching for. Listen, having these conversations is how you hold their feet to the fire. They want you to. That's why they hired you. And it also helps in keeping control of the transaction and keeping control of the buyer process. Okay. Selling real estate is leading, and leading is leadership. So remember, you are in a leadership role. And until you have your ducks in a row and you do things in a systematical way, do what works for you. This is just what works for me. But do what works for you, and you'll find people will make time for you. They will bend around your time, and they will see more value in you as their realtor. So I found this interesting, and I had to put a female over the top of it, but selling is leading and leading is leadership. Like this is how it goes. You have to have a strategy for your buyer and your seller presentations. And this happens to be mine, which is why I'm sharing it with you. But if we don't execute it properly, if we don't ask every question on the pre-qual, if we don't do every step exactly how it's supposed to be done and execute it, then the end result is a question. We never know what the end result will be. If you want results, do things the same thing every single time that works for you. The last problem is number 3, is that we don't know how to close for a signature. This is by far one of the things that I find is always so interesting. Everyone's so nervous to ask for a buyer representation agreement. Have you ever tried to do a consultation over the phone and you send the agency disclosure and they never sign it? Like, has this ever happened to you? I know it has happened to me before. And before when I first started out, I'd send it in crickets. And I'm like, hey, just give me a call. I never saw it come through. Just was wondering if you received it. I know they received it, right? We have .loop or we have DocuSign. We know they got it. We know they opened it. We know they viewed it. But this is a problem. You should be asking yourself why. So with contracts, people don't sign because they have doubt, uncertainty, or they have lingering questions. And worst, they don't trust you. Okay. Remember that. Like if they're not signing your agreement, there's still questions that they have. And your job is to find out what those questions are. So that's why I say this, my friend, is your problem. It's our problem. It's my problem. Like if this happens to me, it's my problem. And taking ownership of that only makes you better as a sales professional. I promise you'll start to understand more of the dynamic of the psychology behind selling. The first step is set up a proper buyer consultation. Okay, this is how you get it done. Second is come from a place of wanting to help and forget about your freaking commission. It's not about you. A sales transaction is not about you. There's so much talk about commission. One of the very first things one of my first brokers told me was, the minute you calculate commission, you're done. So I make it a rule. I don't know that I've ever calculated commission unless I needed to do it for some particular purpose, but I never would ever say that lady cost me X amount of dollars, or now I just lost X amount of dollars. If those words are even like, if I heard somebody standing at the water cooler and they said that, there's 100% guarantee I would never be standing in the same room with that person, because they don't think the way that I do. Okay. So your mindset is about helping people. That's why you got into the business. Yes, it's our job. And yes, we do have to make money, but listen, the end result is getting paid. The end result is good customer service. And more than likely, more of you ladies have all had a job prior to what you're doing now. A high percentage of you have that were in some type of customer service. And so I always tell you, I know you think that you may be new. You may be like 1 to 2 years or 1 to 3 years, and you're still new in this business. But however many years you have of customer service, you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short because you really do have years of customer service. You just need to understand that you're in a different, it's a same business, customer service, different product. That's all. It's a different product. We sell homes instead. Even if you were like, you know, the nurse practitioner, or you were the receptionist at the front desk, the first thing that you said is, good morning, how can I help you? Please sign in. Guess what? That's a script. It's a script. You know, the doctor said, make sure everybody signs in every single morning. Okay, great. Sign in. It's a script. Okay. We all have the same business. It's just a different product. And then we had to provide good customer service. We had to make sure that they were attended to. We had to make sure that we were kind to them. We had to make sure we fit their needs. Okay. We all have got some type of experience. We just need to find a way to lean into that and use that as empowerment for us to have more self-esteem, more self-confidence. So the third thing is ask all the questions. Don't leave any of them out. And guess what? If you have them written out, I used to have them written out on a piece of paper, like line by line, all the questions. And I said to them, I'm just going to pull out my notes here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Guess what I just told that client? They're important to me, and I need to make sure I take notes because what they say is important to me. People recognize that and they appreciate it. So it doesn't matter if you're new. You can be totally new and just sit there with my pre-qual questions and go right through a buyer consult. The next is ask for the signature on the agreement. I'm 100% committed to you, and I'm 100% confident that we will find the right home for you. So just before we take off and we go take a look at a couple of these homes, I do have a disclosure that I need you to sign. This will allow me to actually open the doors for you, represent you when you decide, you know, you find one that you want to write an offer on. It will allow me to handle the sell for you. So if you don't mind, let's go through that right quick before we head out. That is just the easiest way to intro into getting a signature signed. And then if they have any questions about the agreement, I mean, I don't know what the question is. Usually you get who pays your commission. You know, it's already on the MLS. That actually is broker to broker, and they pay, you know, they'll pay, brokers will pay each other, and then that's how money is dispersed. You just explain it in a way that is not a big deal for them. Yeah, so anyways, it's easy to get a signature there. If ever someone says, well, I'm not sure I want to sign, great, I'm not sure if I want to open houses for you. Like, that's fine. Typically for them to come all the way into the appointment, after you've just poured into them on the pre-qual questions, you just found out what their wants and needs are. You know, I always ask what type of home they're coming from, because I will always say, if they say that they are coming from a 3,000 square foot home, well, they won't even say that. Say they want a downsize. Good. Tell me about the house that you're currently in. How many bedrooms, how many baths, and how large is it? This is so that I know what downsizing means to them. So asking those questions is pouring into them and adding more value for you, so that when it comes time to sign the document, they go ahead and they hire you. Next is then follow through. Once you get the document signed, do not just be like, oh, the MLS will send them the houses that are good for them on the market. Go to work every day. You know what their criteria is. Every day something comes on. And if something doesn't come on in like a 5-day span or 7-day span, you best be sending them a text message or giving them a call and saying, hey, just want you to know, I've been going through the houses and I haven't seen anything that's really kind of fit the radar for what would be perfect for you. I know you've been looking at the same things. Is there anything that you saw that you'd like me to double check for you before we head into the weekend? This is your job. They're hired you to be their buyer's agent. The next thing is answer your phone when they call. Don't just text them. If they call you, call them back. Don't text them unless you're like in a meeting or something. You can't text them back. Our job, when I'm talking about their best fit needs, don't let them go willy-nilly. Means like don't let them start looking at things that are over their budget or that aren't even in their criteria. If you start to see some things are weird about, on their criteria, and they start asking you about houses that aren't fitting the criteria, ask them, did we change the criteria? Because I just need to know this. Be honest with people. I hold them to that, especially the budget. Like I'm relentless about budget. They start looking at something that's $100,000 over. I'm like, wait a second, you told me you didn't want to go over, 400,000, and here we are looking at 500. My job is to protect your interests. So did something change? And they'll always be like, yeah, we've talked about it. We could actually go up a little bit more. Okay, good, great. They just know that I'm looking out for their best interest. They told me they wouldn't go over it, and I'm going to stick to it. And then next is where other agents I think would be like, oh yes, they're going over, they're going to spend more. Yeah, that's not the way to approach it. The next thing is that I always tell them it's my job to protect your interest so that you all can make the best decisions for yourself financially. Only they will know what's best for them. All I can do is take the information that they've given me on the pre-qual and put it in front of them, what fits their criteria best, because that will work best for them. All right. If I make the decision, this is the best home, guess what? I'm going to get a text message at midnight. We want to back out. It should never be your decision. It should always be theirs. And they naturally will arrive there once you satisfy their needs and their wants. So just to recap, pre-qualify. So you're looking at the motivation always. Second is set up a buyer presentation. Third is ask pre-qualifying questions. Again, do it twice. Fourth is explain the current market conditions, go over their wants and needs. Don't show homes without agency. Use the line before we head out. Here's a disclosure I need you to approve. My gosh, please don't go out and show homes if you don't have agency. Unless this is like somebody in your back pocket that's like, we even see people in the group get passed over by their besties. So you just don't know, and protect yourself. Your time is valuable. For me, I had little kids sitting there waiting at home for me, and this is time away from my children. So for you, if you're a mom, you're the same way, right? Like our time is most valuable. That's why you got into the real estate business, was so that you could work when you wanted to work and earn an amazing income, which is 100% possible for every single one of you. It's just who decides that, and it's up to you. It's up to you and how you perform your business and how much you become a student of your craft. It takes time, but I promise you'll get so much better at it, and the more you do it, the better you get. Show them homes which best fit their criteria. Don't show them things that don't fit their criteria. Just don't. I see people all the time. They had a list of 25. I've looked at 30 houses. P.S. by the way, I don't know that I've ever shown 30 houses. That will never happen. If I show 30 houses, I haven't done my job at leading them and telling them, why are we looking at that? That is a 3-bedroom. You said you needed 4. Oh, I know, but we've seen 20 others that had 4. Why are we dumbing it down to 3? Okay, we have to have those critical conversations, and they're not hard conversations. They're just honest conversations. There's nothing wrong with being honest. Next, and that's where I say hold them to their criteria. And then lastly is answer your phone and be professional. They will be a client for life. The best client is one that you have 4 or 5 houses deep. Like I love my clients that I've sold 4 and 5 houses deep to. I've sold to their cousins, to their aunties, to their grandma and grandpa. Like that is when you know you have a good, solid repeat referral business, is when you don't have to prospect anymore and you wake up and you still make a 6-figure income. Your name is everything. Your name is 100% who you are. That's all you have is your word. So when you tell people you're going to do something, make sure that you follow through. And I hear people all the time say listings are key, listings are key. Yes, they are. But right now we're moving into a market where listings are going to get tough, because if you don't understand how to have those critical conversations, you're never going to get pricing right, and you're never going to be able to ask for price reduction. So the conversations that we have with people are crucial, and being honest and being forthcoming in the information. If they don't see right away the information that you're giving you, then we haven't delivered it in a way that they understand. And that's not their problem, that's ours, okay? Communication is key. That's a whole nother lunch and learn on personalities, but sales is really, really super fun. And I hope that you guys enjoyed I hope you enjoyed the lunch and learns. I try to keep them really short. I want to be sure to let you know, these are some socials that you can follow me on. I do post these replays on my YouTube channel, and I do host them there in the Facebook group, so you guys can have a library there to watch. I'm not sure how long I'm going to leave each one of them in there because I don't want them to bog down the whole feed. Like that drives me nuts, which is why I don't allow other people to do it in there either. So I will eventually be pulling those out of the feed eventually, and then you'll just have to be over in the YouTube to find them. But the ones that are happening that particular week will always be in the feed for you guys to go back and watch. And then if anybody has any questions, it's such a bummer that I messed up everybody today and I ended up going an hour later. So I really do apologize. Hopefully people on the live are able to watch this and kind of see what's happening. Any questions that I can answer, I'm probably gonna have to have you either drop it in the chat. I don't know that I can even see the live where I'm at, my goodness. If I get out of this. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so here's, let me switch this so that I can stop sharing my screen and I can see y'all here. Some of these questions, let's go through those right quick. I appreciate you guys all being on. If you have to bounce, I totally understand, but I wanna make sure I answer a few of these. Some people are confused since this link isn't working. Oh shoot, in your initial email. Oh, that's a bummer. I don't even understand why that's not working. Okay, I got this. Can you recommend, I'll make sure that you guys get it. I'm glad it's streaming in Facebook. Oh, it doesn't look like it is. That's okay, I'll record it and put it in there. Can you recommend a good CMA listing presentation creation tool? So that is such, Audrey, that is a tough question for me because I do my CMAs differently than most. Some people love those automated companies that pull the data for you because they look really, really nice. So I will get back to you on that. In fact, I will make sure, but if you go to the top of the group and you go to the search tab and you put in CMA, you'll see all of the posts that people have put in there, like what's your favorite CMA company. But that's a really great question, and I'll definitely find one for you. I know, I just don't know the names of them. I know of 2 of them that were recommended to me. Sometimes in my marketplace, because my market is quite small, I have 200,000 people in my marketplace. We have properties that are just, they don't pull comps in their area because they're more in a rural area, and I'm sure other places are similar. So I find it a little bit difficult sometimes, but I for sure will get back to you on that 100%. The other way that I just do my presentations different on my listings. I actually look at pricing property 3 different ways. One through a CMA, one by price, and one by how things fall on the market. And that's another day I can definitely share with that, or you can message me on my email and I'll be happy to share that with you. You're welcome, Nicole. I'm sorry I messed up everybody. That is just such a bummer because I love having everybody's questions. But if you watch this and then you have questions afterwards, if you'll drop them in the chat on the post, I'll make sure to hurry and download this so that I can get this posted right away. And then if you have questions, you guys know I'll always answer them in the feed so that everybody else can have answers. You're welcome. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Love ya, love ya. I'll see you guys in the feed. Oh, one more thing I wanted to tell you, you gals that are on right now. So tonight is the last night for that free Canva boot camp. I'm actually going to be live in there Mountain Time. It's 5 to 6 p.m. She's in Florida, so I think she's doing it like 7 to 8 p.m. But I'll be going over my listing presentation that I created with her product. And that will be just 1 hour. So I'll be popping in there tonight. And the links, I know for sure Ashley has put that in the feed today, and we'll be advertising that since it's the last day of the free boot camp. So anyways, just want to make sure I gave her a shout out and to let her know I really appreciate her having me on tonight live. It will be really fun. And that one is not recorded, just so you know. Ashley does not record her boot camps because she does do them just kind of on the fly. So if you wanted to pop into that, or and you don't have plans tonight, then I'd love to see you there. So anyways, the link. You know what, I'll post it in the, I'll put it up in the chat real quick. Oh, actually, you know what, I actually maybe have it right here. Where are you? Lilia, I'm gonna screenshot right quick. Will you drop your email in there, Lilia, and I'll email that to you. Because she had the same problem as I did. She changed her link and then people weren't able to get in. Perfect. All right, okay, good. I'll email it to you as soon as we hang up here. So thanks everybody. Thanks for being on live. I'll see you guys on Wednesday when we do another Real Talk. I'll have another special guest, and I'll actually be broadcasting live out of Dallas at the Build 22 event. So hopefully I have another really good goodie for you guys there with Tony Robbins. He's always got great stuff. So see you then. Bye.